Hi, everyone. It is very good to be here with you today. It's good to be talking with all of you. As Mansi mentioned, I was a Teach for America core member before moving to India. I actually started my journey in Washington, D.C., where I taught 7th and 8th grade science for 2 years. I'm excited today to hold space on some of our biggest and perhaps our simplest learnings about teaching and teacher leadership. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and we are going to jump in and get started. Give me just 1 second. Mansi, I'll need to be able to share screens. Great, thank you so much. And let's jump in. So the 2020 National Education Policy was released a little more than 6 days ago. The last time the central government of India released this document was actually in 1986. That was 34 years ago. And the new document, it calls for a range of investments in early childhood education, in foundational learning, and access to higher education, in assessments, in curriculum, and even in accreditation. And so what it does is it lays out a new vision for student success. And it argues that kids in today's world, they need not only foundational capacities, things like literacy and numeracy, but also what it calls higher order capacities. These are things like 21st century skills like critical thinking, communication, collaboration. You see, it argues that kids need a well-rounded education. And what it does is it cites great Indian scholars, people like Chanakya and Patanjali, who were a product of the Indian education system. And it calls for a well-rounded education and one that gives importance to the arts as well as to the sciences. But the big question is, how do you transform an education system that is so far from a lofty vision? Well, you could argue that we need many things, but we at Teach for India, well, we believe that we need excellent teachers. You see, the research shows that the single greatest investment you can make to a child's life is the quality of the person standing at the front of that room, a strong teacher. And amongst the many investments that the NEP calls for are changes in teacher recruitment and teacher development. It argues that we need to recruit India's best and brightest, that we need to empower India's teachers, that we need to maximize their talents. But it also calls for changes like merit-based promotion, like a 4-year B.Ed program, and like 50 hours of mandated professional development. All of that, though, you see, that is the how. And before we get into the how, which are changes in training and curriculum, the truth is that we have to ask ourselves the what. What is it that makes a strong teacher? Who is the teacher that India's children need? When you have 53% of 5th grade kids that are unable to read a second standard text, when you have 76% of kids dropping out before the 10th standard, the question we have to be asking ourselves is, what does it mean to recruit the best and brightest? Who are the best and brightest? And if we're trying to develop higher order capacities in our kids, well, then what do we need to develop in our teachers? Over the past 10 years, folks, we at Teach for India have had more than 120,000 young Indians apply to this fellowship. We have selected 7% of them. And we've had 3,500 people complete our fellowship. These are young Indians who have spent 2 years of their lives teaching in government and low-income schools, working to transform the lives of students from low-income backgrounds. And each year for the past 12 years, we have paused to study our most effective teachers. These are teachers like 23-year-old Shivani, who spent 2 years working in Sangam, Bihar, working to ensure her students made it to college. These are teachers like Satyam, who got 100% of his kids to not only pass 10th grade mathematics, but to get distinction in first class. These are teachers like Pooja, who got her kids to grade level while simultaneously forming a working group for mothers to make sure that they felt more empowered to live their own lives. And so why did we study these teachers? Well, it was to ask ourselves this: what are we learning from the teachers who are successfully putting their kids on a fundamentally different life path? And over the next 20 minutes, you see, well, I'm going to share our 5 biggest learnings. And before I do that, I'm going to pause and I'm going to ask you to take a minute and ask yourself, if you had to list down the 5 characteristics of a strong teacher, what would they be? So I want you to come over to the chat box on YouTube and actually list down what are the 5 characteristics of a strong teacher in your minds. Take the next 60 seconds. So come on over to the chat box. What are the 5 characteristics of a strong teacher in your mind? Seeing some responses starting to come in now. And as you continue to get those in, well, I'm going to introduce you to a few teachers who've really shaped some of our thinking. First one should be Nalika Braganza. Some of you may have just been in her session a few minutes ago. She was 20 years old when she joined the Teach for India Fellowship. She had just graduated from Sophia's College in Mumbai, and she had given up a dream to attend the prestigious Oxford University. Why? Because she felt like the children of India needed more great teachers. And I'll never forget the day that I walked into Nalika's 4th grade classroom. Kids were engaging with art, they were singing, they were having fun, but they were learning really rigorous content. They were comparing and contrasting high-level books and passages. They were learning about ancient art history. Travel 1,400 kilometers north to Delhi. This classroom in Sangam Vihar is reading Harry Potter. They're engaging with the 6th grade text and making connections to their own lives. And they're only in the 2nd standard. I'm going to show you a clip from Nirali's classroom who taught these 2nd graders.
We are reading the book called Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It is my favorite book ever.
So we're discussing the potions master. And who is this potions master in Harry Potter?
It teaches us personality traits.
What is personality? What do we know till now?
I like Ron very much because his personality is extremely good and he's very kind, and he doesn't like Hermione because she is bossy.
Solution is the what? The answer. There are many solutions to a problem? Yes or no? Yes. Everybody is participating and everybody has ideas. So everybody's solution is fine. I don't want solutions which the author gave you. Okay? I want you to be thinking, to be imagining of a better solution. Why I'm giving you one question as a team is so that you can all think together. We're going to have more brains to think together to get better solutions. Okay?
When reality is not there, then I cannot speak in English. I don't know how to answer the questions. Not reality is come there. She tell us and we are change a lot.
I don't want all 4 solutions to be call up Hagrid, call up a ghost, call up Dumbledore. Please think.
And that is learning number 1. Great teachers hold their students to high expectations. They don't let poverty or life circumstance dictate what their kids can do. And the research backs that up. A 2009 study showed that students who are held to high expectations are significantly more likely to outperform their peers. It's not just soft stuff that we're talking about. The research and the data actually backs it up. Let's now travel 1,400 kilometers back southwest to the city of Pune. And I want you to meet Jay Mishra, the son of a truck conductor. Jay shared a similar background of the 38 government school 7th graders that he taught. He was rejected to the Teach for India Fellowship twice before finally getting accepted. And 30 days into his fellowship, he decided to move into the community where his kids reside. Why? Because he wanted to develop better relationships with his parents and kids. And so every day after school, Jay would have tea with parents. He would thought partner with kids. Fast forward 18 months. Well, those relationships, they came to fruition. The government of Pune told Jay that his kids wouldn't have an 8th grade classroom to attend, meaning that many of them would drop out. And so Jay mobilized the parents, community leaders, and school officials to advocate. They actually went to the corporator's office. They sent letters, phone calls, everything you could imagine. And 3 months later, well, the corporator caved. 8th grade classrooms were established. It was a huge move. And today, 100% of Jay's kids are studying in college. And Jay still is living in that community, working to improve the lives of kids and parents all around him. Here's a bit of a clip from Jay's interview that we took several years ago.
I started with a normal class parents meeting, right? I and along with my school principal, we entered in all the parents teachers meeting. They've thrown like a bunch of questions which I was just not able to answer. The questions were like, "Aap 1 saal se ho kahan the ab tak?" Some of parents have this mindset, you cannot change this public education system. This is a government school or yes, aise hi chalta rahega. I said, fine. I accept everything what they said. And then I said, fine, just help me for 1 month. Support. I need your support for a month. After a month, when I had my first parents conference call somewhere, where all the 360 parents I invited. Luckily, all of them turned up. Right, 360 parents. I was dealing with them like a back-to-back sessions, and I was the only person who was talking to them on that particular day. And all of them were happy. They were just more than happy, and all of them were shocked. Right, how a public school can change so much within a month. Right, and there I started giving all the credit to the parents. Right, 360 parents. I said it's just because of you. This school is running because of you and school principal and the teachers and the kids. They are going to stay here. Still, if you want commitment from my side, I have already committed to this community. I'm not going to leave Pune unless this school is going to transform fully. In my first year of fellowship,
And that is our second lesson. You see, great teachers have the humility and the wisdom to partner with parents and students. And while the research also backs it up. The research shows that when you get parents more involved in the education of low-income kids or kids anywhere, you are much more likely to get student gains and student outcomes to go up. We're going to travel 1,400 kilometers back north, and we're going to meet Shivani Agarwal. You see, at the very beginning of her fellowship, 30 days into teaching her third graders, Shivani did something that most new teachers never find the time to do. She stepped back and she paused. You see, she thought about what she wanted from her kids. She thought about what her kids needed from their classroom, what they needed to climb out of poverty. And after days of reflection, she sat down and she penned down her thoughts into an evolving vision statement. And that vision statement read exactly like this. She said, I want every student to graduate from my class as self-aware, responsible individuals with the grit and the initiative to overcome any challenges in their path and create opportunities to reach their dreams. My students will create quantifiable goals for themselves in all areas, and they will be able to actively pursue and create opportunities to engage in interests that they are passionate about outside of the curriculum. It's a lofty vision, but then what Shivani did next is what really matters. She worked her way backwards. She developed a plan to get her to that vision. Everything in her class was linked to dreams, to college, to grit, to exposure. And when those visions, when people like Shivani take these visions and they translate them to kids, and you start to hear kids talking about what they want, well, here's what it can look like. I'm going to show you a clip from another classroom of a child named Kusum talking about her vision after she's internalized the role she needs to play in creating visions for kids around her.
What I think an excellent education is that not only studying and being good in all subjects and good getting full marks and all that. For me, an excellent education is getting full marks in your values and inside your heart what type of person you are. I have improved a lot in last 2 years because in the class I get angry a lot of time and I start being angry and shouting on everyone. But now I have improved a lot. I became more courage than before because I was very scared from everything near people around me, and whenever I'm talking to someone, I was very shy to talk to someone. But now I'm very courage because in last 2 years I learned how to be courage from Maya. The vision for our community is one day everyone will get an excellent education. So it is talking about everyone. That means each child will get an excellent education, not only one person. So that's why we all should work together and think about the vision. And I think my first step will be thinking only about the vision. And then second step, thinking about the community. And the third step will be thinking a vision up for the community. So I'm not going to do that alone. I need everyone's help. If I will make a vision alone, then that means I'm not making for my community. If I have to make a vision for my community, we all have to work together and then work on that vision. I think this is important because everyone have vision for each other. If it is for community, then it should be everyone. Because if I will say my vision for community is this, so I want to do this. Do you think alone you will do some? Can you do something? No. So if we will work together and do teamwork, okay, let's take a.
When teachers set strong visions, kids follow. Kids set visions as well. And that is lesson number 3. Great teachers develop bold and transformational visions for their kids. They set audacious goals. They are ambitious enough to dream big. And not because they want to, but because they realize that their kids need them to. And they use those visions to guide every single action in their classroom. And so meet Ashwat now. He's the brains and the coordinator behind this Inspire Ed conference. He's also the developer of Firki. But 9 years ago, you see, he was teaching more than 100 3rd and 4th graders in the city of Pune. He knew that his students needed to master 4th grade mathematics, but he also knew that they needed the higher order capacities that the NEP just called for. So he turned his entire classroom for 6 straight months into a team of architects. You see, his students were going to design a model city. And so every day when they came into class, well, they would practice measurements for buildings. They would calculate angles. They would learn about the history of cities, all that so that they could build their own model cities. You see, Ashwat knew that he needed to build future citizens who could apply what they learned. And to do so, he knew that he needed to get creative. It's the same creativity that fueled Kamna's 5th graders to be the world explorers, where they began cleaning up the city of Mumbai. The same creativity that led to this classroom of joy, as it called itself, in Ahmedabad. And that, folks, is lesson number 4. You see, great teachers are creative and they are innovative. They work relentlessly to keep learning relevant to their kids' lives, to make sure that what their kids are learning is actually relevant to what they see around them, to the world around them, so that they can make connections that are pertinent and necessary. Finally, I want you to meet Robin. He taught 9th grade. His students got to him more than 4 years behind grade level. And to get them to pass and to excel in the 10th standard, he knew that he had to move twice as fast. And so every day after school, Robin sat with his data. And he thought critically about how to get better. Every single day, he poured through reading levels, mastery scores for the day, and observations of his kids. He made his kids do the same. You see, every class started with a reflection circle where his students would think back to their progress from the day before. And when those practices come together, when you have teachers and kids reflecting on their progress, you see something like this teacher puja that I'm about to show you. You see, here's what it can look like in a classroom when teachers and kids are reflecting.
Out of it. All right, so we are going to reflect on our dreams. You remember we started the day by writing our dreams? Can all of you just close your eyes for 1 minute and just remember what we did in the morning? Whether it's becoming a dancer, a singer, a doctor, an engineer, coming to school should help you to fulfill those dreams.
Can you please share your dreams and how coming to school is going to help you to achieve that dream?
Class, I want to become a singer and I am coming to school.
I did have a vision for my classroom, but when I came to my class with my vision, I wanted each and every child to have their own vision for themselves, and we integrated the vision. So it was never me imposing a vision on them. I told them, this is what I feel should be there. You let me know what you feel. We are coming into the class to learn from each other. I'm teaching you things. You teach me. It's like a two-way process. And never are we going to force anything on each other.
Let's give her a bubble clap. 1, 2, 3.
Out of it.
And that is lesson number 5. Great teachers reflect and continuously strive to get better for the kids that they serve. And the research always backs that up as well. It shows that when teachers take the time out to focus on cumulative reviews, when teachers take the time out to be able to think critically about where they're heading, their likelihood of actually impacting student outcomes grows. And that brings us to our closing, folks. 5 big lessons. Great teachers hold their kids to high expectations. Great teachers have the humility and the wisdom to partner with parents and kids. Great teachers develop bold and transformational visions for their kids. Great teachers are creative and innovative to keep learning relevant. And great teachers reflect and continuously strive to get better for the kids that they serve. It may seem incredibly simple, but behind it is a tremendous amount of research and practice that has been proven over and over again. And so in these last 2 minutes that we have together, I want to close with one question for you, and I'm going to ask you to come back to the chat box. So come back to that YouTube chat box with me. The NEP wants to transform Indian education, to deliver on that vision, and to deliver on that promise. What do you think India's teachers will need? Come back to the chat box with me, take the next 2 minutes, and we will close out with your responses to that one big question. So to deliver on the NEP's vision of a 21st century education, what do you think India's teachers will need? Someone said experience, adaptability, creativity, passion. They'll need a great vision. Love the comments that are coming in. They'll need the heart to change. Compassion again. They'll need accountability. They'll need a growth mindset. Let's hear a few more. What do you think India's teachers will need? They'll need to become students again. How profound, yes. They'll need humility. They'll need vision. Support and belief in all kids. A whole lot of passion, empathy, couldn't resonate more. They'll need to be change makers. They'll need to be confident, flexible. They'll need to be values-based. They'll need to be resilient. Love some of these comments coming in, folks. With this, I leave you with the thought that we have a tall order ahead of us if we are going to transform the educational system of India. And we cannot do it without investing greatly into our teachers. The question we need to be asking ourselves is, what do we need to build within our teachers? And my hope is that these 5 learnings provide a bit of a path. To all of you, a happy World Teachers Day, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this conference. Thank you very much.